Welcome to On the Way to School, your 6-minute daily boost for educators and administrators. I'm Christopher S. Dennis, and today, let's elevate our journey together. All right, we are back. Hear ye, on the way to school. Today, I want to talk about supreme accountability. Supreme accountability. As a leader, you will find yourself having to respond, process, support situations that, as a leader, you are responsible for. It doesn't matter if you had no idea this thing took place in a classroom or across campus. If you're that principal, if you're that chair, if you're that dean, you're that division head, you're that head of school, you have to take supreme accountability for your jurisdiction of leadership. You have to, because that's why the roles exist. That is the plate. That is the meal. That is what you signed up for. And when things are going well, you get to be the one that walks to that podium and people applaud. You get to be the one that gives the speech. You get to be the one that speaks on behalf of the good work of other people. And when things don't work out, you have to be that same person. So supreme accountability, I've got 3 things that I really want you to think about. Supreme accountability starts with taking ownership. Okay. And taking ownership for the good and the bad. So you've got to have strategies for consistent self check-ins with your accountability. Did you explain the instructions and the standards of how you want your team to operate? Did you provide space for feedback and to get the information you need to understand how folks are doing? If things aren't going well, you've got to take accountability for that. That may mean you've got to spend a Saturday working through something in the office or checking in on these emails. You can't really have a shut off time. And that doesn't mean, you've got to work 47 hours. Doesn't mean you have to work 80 hours, but it may mean you need to at certain times. And those self check-ins is for you to realize that this part of the school year, this part of the season, I do need to pour in a little bit because I'm going to go catch my breath at another time. That's the supreme accountability because people are relying on you. Okay. So number 1, take ownership. The second thing is accountability partners. You've got to have accountability partners in achieving your goals. So that means what can you delegate for other folks to really focus on so that you can be accountable to the whole thing. It's hard to have 6 strategic goals and then you're the only one hoarding all of that conversation, hoarding all of that information so that those goals can be seen through to fruition. So the accountability partners are by way of delegating those responsibilities, trusting people that they can actually do the other things that need to be done for this goal to come through. And then also, if they fall a little short, maybe you can come in and supplement. But you've got to be able to have accountability partners and let them know where their responsibilities fall in the larger scope of actually achieving the greater goals for the organization. I have a huge team that supports our school. And I think there's so many things that people do in silence that I don't even understand. I couldn't show up and be confident in how well our school runs had those folks not been accountable to their own sphere of influence. And those are partners. They're not subordinates. They are not, they are employees, but it's not a hierarchical understanding. Everybody understands that their role is essential to the school's function. And those are people that you want to be able to trust and instill that trust in. The third thing is measuring success. All right. So what are the tangible benchmarks for your journey? Right now, we're in the middle of an accreditation process, which is the self-study phase. And there are so many components to a whole school being recognized to be accredited as an institution of education that you've got to be able to have the benchmarks to measure that success. So the accreditation process is just one of those forms of measurements of success and benchmarking. So we've got a process. We've actually on, this coming week, we're going to be kind of going through a series of meetings and conversations where the entire community is going to pour in and respond to the questions that the accrediting body is asking of us. And I think that's a way of being able to have a benchmark and a measurement of success. Another way to do that are the performance goals that we have as leaders. Sometimes if you go beyond 3 goals, that means something's not going to get done well. So really streamlining the process and knowing when are you going to take assessment of how well you've done on this goal. So for my team, we're going to meet in a couple weeks to really understand, like, all right, our goals this year were to be prepared, organized, and to be anticipatory. How have we done on that? Let's look at our events. Let's look at our measurements. How did we show up? Were we prepared? Did we document? Did we get feedback? And how are the students doing? Okay. We look at that through the data that we have from student surveys, faculty surveys, even parent surveys. So all of these are measurements to success on your journey. And if you hit all these points, not necessarily hitting them with 100% satisfaction, at a glance, you can look at it reverse chronologically and understand what kind of year did we have? How did we do it? Were we accountable to the goal? And then as a leader, you can say, congratulations, everybody. We did what we set out to do, and we're going to even have a better year next year. So again, supreme accountability, take ownership, have accountability partners, and measure for success. Hopefully that helps some folks out today. Thanks, folks. Take care. Thanks for joining me on the way to school. Stay inspired, stay motivated, and keep making a difference. I'm Christopher.